check it out.
What's up everybody, Subaru WRX fan here for weekly update number 38 on this Friday. So what's new with the BRZ? Well, first thing is no, I have not plasti dipped the rims yet. I have been too busy. I've been on the road every weekend and haven't had much time to do it. I'm aiming to do it next week, hopefully. So what else is new with the BRZ? Well, I passed 23,000 miles last week, and I also took it in yesterday for an oil change service, and they also investigated some of those rattles and things that I were talking about. They couldn't duplicate the sound with the passenger window, that popping sound that it would make as soon as you'd start putting it down. I haven't really experienced it either recently. It might just be something that happens whenever it's warmer. Now that it's colder, maybe it doesn't do it. I don't know. They did fix the rear window rattle. That was something that, you know, there was a service bulletin out for it anyway, and so they went in and fixed that. No more problems there. The taillights still do have the condensation very slightly in both of them, and I already had one of them replaced and the other one resealed, and they're still both getting condensation in them. So the dealership's just going to order me 2 new taillights and replace both sides again and hope that this time it actually works. And so yeah, that's about it though as far as all that stuff goes. So this big thing I want to talk about real quick, because there's a lot of good news to talk about this week, but a few people brought to my attention that Consumer Reports gave the BRZ and the FR-S very, very bad ratings on Consumer Reports reliability tests. And I never, ever take Consumer Reports seriously. There's been so many cars over the years that they have given awful ratings to that were really, really good cars, and I've seen them give some really good ratings to some absolutely terrible cars. And just to prove how terrible Consumer Reports is, they gave different engine reliability ratings for the FR-S and the BRZ. The BRZ had worse engine reliability ratings than the FR-S, even though they both have the exact same engine, the exact same drivetrain, transmission, all of that is identical. So and they're built in the same factory too, so there is no reason why the FR-S should be more reliable than the BRZ. They're identical. But I mean, yes, there are a few rattles, and the fuel pump makes that chirping noise you hear under the hood sometimes. Mine has either stopped doing that, or I just don't pay attention to it anymore, because it doesn't even bother me. I don't even hear it. So that's not really a big issue, and the only other thing is the navigation system likes to lose the GPS signal for the satellite. Again, that's a minor issue, but none of these things are reliability issues. When you talk about reliability issues, you're talking about the car breaking down or leaving you stranded somewhere, and this doesn't. I mean, it's a Subaru, they're super reliable, and Consumer Reports is just full of crap. The fact that they gave the FR-S and the BRZ 2 separate engine reliability ratings just goes to show how clueless they are. So don't listen to Consumer Reports. In my opinion, they're just totally full of crap. So anyway, I'll send it back to the news desk this week for this week's news. Right, so for this week's news, there's a lot of it this week because we have the Tokyo Motor Show and the Los Angeles Motor Show going on almost simultaneously here. So the first thing though, that if you follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, you'll see I was flipping out whenever they revealed the F-Type Coupe the other night. And I'm telling you what, they just did a home run with this car. It looks so amazing. I mean, the front end looks kind of how you would expect it to look. It looks basically the same as the convertible, but that back end and the 3/4 shot, it just looks so beautiful. It's a stunning car. And on top of that, they announced the R model, which has 550 horsepower, and the announcement video that they posted up literally made my eyes water with how epic it was. Like, it's amazing. I love it. I really, really want one. Oh man, I don't know. I haven't been this shocked whenever I first saw a car since the Lamborghini Aventador. When I first saw that car, I felt like I got punched in the gut. And this car just made my knees weak, basically. I mean, it's just so beautiful. I love, you know, that they kept that amazing rear profile from the E-Type Coupe, and it just, oh man. Ian Callum needs to win an award for designing this car. The engineers need to win awards for making that wonderful exhaust note an amazing car, and just the Jaguar executives for approving of this car, and just everything about it. The marketing of the whole Jaguar brand has been spectacular. Jaguar is amazing, absolutely amazing. Climbing up very quickly into my list of top favorite brands. Just, I love Jaguar. So, yeah, I am absolutely staggered by the F-Type. I could sit there and look at pictures of it all day. I made it my phone wallpaper. I made it my computer wallpaper. I mean, I'm totally in love with this F-Type coupe. Go watch the video here in full 1080p. You can check it out. It looks amazing. It's one of the sickest YouTube videos I've seen in a while, so definitely go check it out. Another big news car that was debuted recently was the 2015 Subaru WRX. Has officially been unveiled, and whenever you forget about the amazing WRX concept that they released a few months ago, this actually looks really good. You know, yes, the shape is still not ideal. It's based on an Impreza. They said, you know, oh, the WRX is going to be its own separate line, so everyone was hoping for a completely new car, and it's still a hopped-up Impreza. But that's all it ever has been, is a hopped-up Impreza. So Subaru definitely shot themselves in the foot, because if this car had been released and they hadn't shown a concept, I think the reception to this would be a lot better. But even still, it looks amazing. It has the same eyebrow LEDs that the BRZ has, and it has some of the concept's cues, and I mean, I think it looks good. They retain some of the wide body fenders that I really love on the current generation WRX, and you know, still has the good old hood scoop. And the interesting thing about this car is it actually has a 2-liter turbo motor, which goes back to the Japanese and, you know, the early WRXs here in 2002 to 2005 in the US here. And so that'll be interesting to see if the turbo lag is more exaggerated, or, you know, how that works out. It has 268 horsepower, which is 3 more than the current car. It has a little bit more torque as well. So I mean, it should be slightly faster, except it now comes standard with a 6-speed manual transmission, which is better for fuel economy, but it's going to make for slower 0 to 60 times because of that extra shift. So they're saying 5.4 seconds 0 to 60. Still not going to be a slow car, going to be a lot of fun. The interior looks a lot better, has a really nice looking steering wheel, and I mean, the gauges, everything, it looks really nice. I actually really like this WRX. I'd love to review one here in the near future and see how it compares to the current generation. So yeah, let me know what you think about the new WRX. Subaru just had a ton of concepts to show us in these two motor shows. So at Tokyo, Subaru debuted the Cross Sport Design Concept, which is basically a BRZ shooting brake that's been lifted a little bit and has some body cladding on it, which is pretty ugly looking. But if you strip away that body cladding and, you know, give it a normal stance, it looks really amazing, I think. And you know, it has slightly different headlights that I don't like as much as the BRZ headlights. Taillights, they look amazing. I love the back end of this shooting brake. I don't know if they're going to make this or not. It's very interesting they even decided to build this concept at all. I'm hoping that they do a production version of this, because I think it'd be a really cool niche vehicle, kind of like the CTSV wagons and stuff like that. I think this would be a really cool car. So Subaru, you should definitely make that and bring it to America. Another Subaru concept that was debuted at the LA Auto Show was the 2015 Legacy Concept. Now, everyone's taking this one with a grain of salt, considering the amazing Impreza WRX concept that, you know, was debuted a few months ago, and then WRX you just saw doesn't look very much like that. And so this car looks amazing. I posted up about this on my Instagram last week, and I was just floored with how beautiful this car looks as well. And I'm sure they'll probably take some cues from the concept, but, you know, this car, there's no reason to dumb them down. I don't know why Subaru just kills themselves with design. They make these amazing cars, and they show you their potential, and then they just make a production version that looks terrible. So Subaru, this concept car, here's what you need to do to change it. Give it a realistic interior, give it normal side mirrors, and you're good to go. You're done. That's it. Don't change anything else about it, and that car will sell by the boatloads. Free advice from Subaru WRX fan. Another Subaru concept that they debuted at Tokyo was the Subaru Levorg Concept, which I touched on briefly in last week's update, and it looks good. Again, looks a lot like an Impreza wagon would, and it looks pretty nice. Some people are saying that this could be more of what the production Legacy will actually look like. I think it looks great though. Subaru should bring back the wagons instead of only giving us the Outbacks that are dumbed down and raised up and don't look as good. It would be really sweet to see some cool Subaru wagons again, with turbos preferably. And while we're talking about turbos, Nissan at the Tokyo Motor Show debuted the 2015 Nissan GT-R Nismo, which has 600 horsepower and over 480 foot-pounds of torque. No 0 to 60 times have been released yet that I can see, but it definitely looks pretty insane. You can see, you know, it obviously has new front and rear bumpers, and the whole 2015 Nissan GT-R range was unveiled. and it's going to have a more comfortable ride, and they did some slight tweaks to the exterior. It has new headlights that have these weird looking LED things that cut across the middle of the headlight that don't look good at all in my opinion. One cool thing though is the new taillights, which are the same design, same shape, but instead of having a ring of LED dots, it actually just has one huge LED ring around it. So it's a very cool look, you know, kind of more of that Tron-inspired styling that we've been seeing on cars more and more. So that looks really cool. I really love the way the new GT-R looks, aside from those funky headlights. And Nissan is actually claiming that the GT-R Nismo is the ultimate edition of the GT-R, which makes me think this is the last iteration of the GT-R before the new, completely restyled GT-R comes out here, you know, in maybe 2020 or something. But yeah, that's definitely going to be an amazing car. I can't wait to see one of those out on the road. Another thing is that Ford announced that they're going to unveil the 2015 Ford Mustang December 5th. It's going to be on stage in 5 different places. It's going to go live at 12:01 a.m. And it's going to be a huge event. This is going to be a really interesting thing to see how the production version of this car looks. You know, we've seen a lot of leaked pictures that Car and Driver posted up that I hope are real, and so it's going to be really interesting to see how this new Mustang actually turns out. You know, everyone's really skeptical because they're going to have a turbo 4-cylinder, they're going to have the V6 and the V8, and everyone's flipping out about that turbo 4-cylinder. I think it's great, and yeah, so it'll be really interesting to see this car whenever it debuts. So it's going to be a long 2 weeks here, but it'll be very exciting to see this car once it finally debuts. Another car that just debuted recently at the LA Auto Show was the Porsche Macan, which is a really nice looking little SUV here. You know, it's like a baby Cayenne, and it looks really good. You can get it in an S or you can get a turbo. And the really impressive thing to me is the price. I mean, yes, it's smaller than a Cayenne, and this is supposed to be, you know, more of a mass-produced car, but they only want like 50 grand for the Macan S, which isn't a slouch. It has 340 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds for 50 grand. I mean, that's pretty good to also have a Porsche name, and the interior looks absolutely stunning. That's a really nice bargain. For 50 grand, I think that jumps up to the top of my list for favorite SUVs. Very, very cool little car. And lastly, Mini has debuted the new Cooper and Cooper S, the 2015 models. Now, we've seen lots of spy shots, and I've had mixed feelings, and now they've released all the pictures so you can see it from every single angle, and it doesn't look quite as bad as the spy pictures led on to believe, but it's still just going to take a little time for me to warm over to this. I mean, it looks good. I respect that Mini is keeping with the retro styling, and they're, you know, the traditional round headlamps and the same proportions, and they're not messing with that because everyone else is trying to go all futuristic and ditch the retro stuff. I like that this is a good blend of retro and modern combined. I like the LED rings around the headlights to give it more of a modern look, but it still has the classic Mini look, and I respect Mini for doing that. So this car, I hope it does well. I think it's, you know, as long as they price it reasonably, it's going to do great. So yeah, that's it for all the news this week, guys, though, so I'll send it back to me in the car. Alright, so I'll leave you with a nice little acceleration here like I always do. Haven't driven with these snow tires too much, so they're still probably not broken in, so let's get ready for some wheel spin. Because I hadn't driven it for like 5 days, and I was like going nuts, like, oh man, I love driving this thing, and I can't be away from it for too long. I'm really addicted. So just so much fun. Love it. Love this exhaust. It's still gonna be a little loud at times. I wish it didn't drone as much as it does, but it's still just so much fun. Just I love this thing. Absolutely love it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week. Take care.